Yet the righteous person will hold to his way, and the one whose hands are clean will grow stronger. Job 17:9. Scott here again. I want to offer you some encouragement once again from our reading through the wisdom books of the Bible. We're in Job, and we've seen the suffering of Job. We've seen these interactions that he's had with his friends. And so if we back up to chapter 16, verse 1, Job says about his friends who have been trying to comfort him in a way, have been speaking to him. He says, "You are all miserable comforters. You're no good at this, helping me feel better. Here I am, I've lost my family, I've lost my possessions, I've lost my health, and you're coming here to judge me." I think of our times today in the midst of all this virus talk and do we open things back up? Do we protect people more? And there's this sense of judgment that we have for one another. We judge people for the decisions that they make in politics. We judge people for their words that they share through social media or through other news outlets. There's all this judgment and pointing of the finger when it's something that we're not really in control of. God is the one in control of this situation, and we're blaming each other for what's happening. And this is a time where we need to come together and support and encourage one another. Well, when Job's friends were not there to support and encourage him, but instead were there to judge him, what did it do to him? It brought him to the point to where in Job chapter 17:1, he says, "My spirit is broken." So we need to understand that mercy triumphs over judgment. Judgment brings us to brokenness, but mercy can also bring us to brokenness in a good way. It's the mercy of God breaking us into his kingdom. When you feel discouraged, when you feel broken, what have you done to renew your spirit through the Lord? Yeah, I know on Monday I was feeling just really discouraged through the isolation and just kind of the same old monotony. I like variety. I like to mix things up. And so I interacted with some friends. I spent some more time in the Word and in prayer. I spent some time just worshiping the Lord. And I spent some time encouraging others. And you know what? It renewed my spirit. And so I want you to post in the comments below, what have you done to renew your spirit in this time, in this season that we're in? Or what have you done to renew others? And post some comments below of how you have done that to encourage yourself, to encourage others. And I also want to touch on something else. The righteous person will hold to his way. Why does the righteous person hold to his way? Well, I think that we can see an answer to that in Romans chapter 1, where it says the righteous will live by faith. And I want to back up and read Romans chapter 1, verse 16 and 17. "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew and also to the Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the righteous will live by faith." So I think this is what Job was experiencing here. When he said the righteous person will hold to his way, the reason the righteous person holds to his way is because his faith is not shaken by the things that go on around him or her. If it's hearing bad news, we stay to our way. If it's hearing or experiencing sickness in ourselves, we stay on the path of righteousness because we're walking by faith, not by sight, not by the things that we see and hear around us, but we're walking by a trust in the Lord. And I think we have a perfect example of that in Jesus. And that's why this gospel is so powerful. Jesus walked this earth. He stayed the straight and narrow when so much opposition was coming against him, when people were questioning his way, even his own family questioned him. He remained faithful and continued in the path of righteousness, even to the cross. So we have one who has gone before us, and we have many others who have gone before us in the faith, that have stayed the straight and narrow, that have held on in faith to live a righteous life. We need to look at Job, who through suffering remained righteous. We need to look at Jesus, first of all, and how he remained righteous. And just seeing the fullness of this passage in Romans 1, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel. I am not disgraced by the grace of God. It is his grace that helps me press on, move forward, because it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes." It is the power of God, this gospel, this good news is the power of God for salvation. It's just not any old good news. It's the good news of salvation through Christ, who died for us so that we may have life. If that doesn't help you walk the straight and narrow, I don't know what will. We can't do it by our own good deeds. We can't do it just by reading the Bible. It has to be an understanding of what the Bible is about, and it's about King Jesus and his mighty power of salvation for us. It is in this gospel that the righteousness of God is revealed. It's revealed in the person of Jesus. It's revealed in the salvation that Jesus offers, that leads us into a life where we follow Christ and walk in righteousness by faith, knowing that Christ was faithful for us, so we can faithfully follow him, and that's the way we have righteousness. It's not in our own deeds, it's in the work of Christ, and as we walk in him, his righteousness pours out of us. And then backing up to Job 17:9, and the one whose hands are clean will grow stronger. As we are purified by the blood of Christ, as we follow him and we're cleansed from the things of this world, we're cleansed from the bad news, we're cleansed from our own sin and wickedness, then we grow stronger in the righteousness, and we're able to stay that straight and narrow through faith. Our faith is made stronger, and we can say that we are not ashamed of the gospel because we know it is the power of God for salvation. So this is a time where it may be a little bit harder to share the gospel, but what are you doing right now, or what can you do to share the gospel with others? How are you living by faith and displaying that faith to others? Are you adding to the fear? Are you adding to the worry of our society? Are you causing opposition? Or are you bringing encouragement and unity and hope and comfort in the midst of suffering? How can we share the gospel in this time? How can we live the gospel truth, having faith, being a people who live in righteousness by faith in Christ? Post in the comments below, how can we display and share the gospel in this season, showing faith, showing hope, showing love, showing joy, living a righteous life in the midst of uncertainty. I hope you're encouraged by Job 17, verse 9, and Romans 1, 16 through 17.